Good morning, everyone. And I want to thank Pastor Kim for facilitating this for the family. Just like the rest, it's going to be tough for me to get through this, but I'm going to read it off of my phone, so that might help. I want to thank Nance and Pat, Freshie, Aubrey, Tracy, Allison, Brett's whole family for giving me the honor to speak. I also want to thank each and every one of you on behalf of Brett and his family. We really do appreciate the outpouring of love and kindness and generosity that all of you have expressed today and over the past weeks. Genuinely, thank you. God bless. Namaste. Brett, sorry. Brett Williams was more than just a friend to me. He was my brother. He was my heart and soul, a powerful force of inspiration in my life. Many of my successes in my life would not be possible without his influence. We shared so many things over the years, birthday parties. We were actually born one day apart. I'm January 8th, he's January 9th, 1972. We shared road trips, apartments, college classes, open mics, dance parties, song circles, hockey games, concerts, gigs, a national tour, infinite stogies, a total kick-ass group of friends and family, fitting in with the misfits, baby. Moments of beauty and quiet reflection, and most of all, we shared love and laughter. When Brett and I met, we almost immediately came up with an idea for a movie, The Pillow Fighter. This movie was going to be a spoof on Bloodsport, Rocky, all these, Van Damme movies, etc. A young pillow fighter, Beauregard, coming into his own, played by Brett, would face a pillow villain named King Feather and an assassin named Goose Polinsky to claim the ultimate prize of top pillow fighter in Lakeland. We filmed all around town and at Southeastern, and during this time was where I think we both knew we had found a friend for life. Our creative energy, senses of humor, desire to see the job get done were a perfect match. We did make that film, and the resulting ridiculousness was the start of a wonderful bromance. I love so many things about my best friend in life, Brett. One of the things I love about this legend is how he could talk to anyone about anything. Ultimate wingman. He is literally one of the smartest people I've ever met. He seemed to know something about everything. And a quiet wisdom. If I ever needed insight into a situation or opinion from someone about a difficult dilemma, Brett was the man for the job. Super humble while being quietly brilliant. He had a real ability to cut through the bullshit and get right to the heart of any issue. Excuse my French. His intelligence was a blessing, but also sometimes a curse. I think he carried the burden of that cutting insight. Sometimes it weighed him down, if you know what I mean. But even the worst of things could never dull this guy's sparkle, man. No one could ultimately yuck his yum. One of his many mottos was, "Don't let the bastards grind you down," and he never did. Another thing I love about Brett was his musical talent and how much music was woven into our lives. When I was living with him and he taught himself to play the guitar, I was genuinely in awe. Wait, what, bro? You picked up a guitar and taught yourself how to play it? Teach me. And so he did. He said, play until you can't play anymore, then play for another 15 minutes. Before you know it, the calluses will form and you'll be able to play as long as you want. And he was right. It was tough, but I learned thanks to him. I'm all right. I'm no Brett Williams, but I can play. Then he started writing tunes. Wait, what, bro? You're writing songs now? Yeah, check this out. And then he would play some amazing tune he had written like the night before. Madam Dixon. We went to Boston on these road trips, and one of the times we were driving, and there was a psychic, one of these side-of-the-road psychics, but it was a house, and this lady was it was late at night, and this lady was out with the garden gnomes in her front yard with the psychic thing, and she was just dancing crazy. Bro wrote a song about that. Madam Dixon lives out on Route 53 with 53 plants in her garden. Every Tuesday she waters her lawn ever since the drought back in '83, and it goes on. I don't know that he ever actually published that, but that was one of his early tunes. I always felt so honored that I was typically the first or second person to ever hear these tunes. It was either me or Freshie. The storytelling was on point. The narrative was always the focus of the song. His writing was stellar. Then came the open mics in Tampa. We'd go and play a few of his tunes at a Barnes & Noble or some dive bar, and then head back to Lakeland. Mighty Joe Plum came next. 98 Rock played the demo on Sunday nights on their local talent night. So many requests for Live Through This came into the station, they started playing it in regular rotation. We know the rest of the story. Before you know it, Trace and I are in Nashville singing background vocals on a new album. What a time. But even besides all the band stuff, traveling around the country, doing all that stuff was awesome. While I enjoyed being the hype guy at all the Tampa and Orlando shows with the occasional performance of Horse's Head, besides the band stuff, music was just a fabric we wrapped ourselves up in. We used to drive every Saturday afternoon to Vinyl Fever in Tampa and pick through the used CDs for a new treasure. Is that place still there, Vinyl Fever? Probably not there anymore. We were looking for something new, something nobody had heard. That's how we discovered Jeffrey Gaines and PM Dawn and the Spin Doctors and the Williams Brothers. Who? Exactly. They were ours. Speaking of the Williams Brothers, we performed one of their tunes at an open mic with Tracy, and I can't hear it now without thinking about Brett. Gonna look back in vain to see you standing there when all that remains is just an empty chair. And now that you're gone, I can't cry hard enough. No, I can't cry hard enough for you to hear me now. And if I had $1 for every time we watched the U2 Rattle and Hum documentary, I would be a rich man. Brett used to randomly call out, "This song Charles Manson stole from the Beatles. Tonight we're stealing it back. When you get to the bottom, you go back to the top of the slide, and you stop and you turn and you go for a ride. Then you get to the bottom, hey, it's to me again." And we would just, start shouting it out. "Do you, don't you want me to love you?" Because you had to make the guitar sounds too. You couldn't just sing it, Oh, good times. I also love so much Brett's uncanny ability to use silliness to lighten any situation and to make life a pure joy. He can create any voice he wants, like Nat said. So freaking funny at impressions. Countless inside jokes, each with their own particular voice. Good enough. Nah, dog, nah. He's here, nah, dog. Good to see you, buddy. Gary's old buddy Lynchy. Ow, what the fuck, man? Kenny. Lady. Dumber than you, and his cousin stupider than you. I think it was Fat Jones. Scotta, the goo. You think it is what it is? Kuna Kente, have a good day. Let me get one of them Pepsi. My eye. Mr. Cavallo, let's read some more from my book, The Preacher Boy. Freaking Dr. West. This was a professor we had in this SAC. Brett got so bored in that class, he invented a game that we played religiously every time we had the class. The guy was totally clueless. He would just stand up at the front and read from his book the whole time. So Brett took a piece of loose leaf paper and would draw various targets on different values, 100, 500, 1,000 on this piece of paper. The object was to get an ant from the floor to crawl onto your paper, and then you had a full minute to rack up as many points as you could by getting the ant to crawl across the various targets on the piece of paper. Simple, but freaking hilarious. Some of the funniest memories I have of Brett are the toll booth pranks that we used to play. This is when you had toll booth operators up and down the East Coast. We'd take these long road trips, and just the object was, okay, you can't come up with it ahead of time. You have to take the time between the last toll and the next one to come up with what are you going to do that's going to be funny. And we film these. We had a fake arm that was hanging out of the back of the car. You know the Spencer Gifts fake arms? Brett rigged this thing up with a cigarette in his hand. So it was sitting in the window like this, pulls up to it, the window open, pulls up with this fake arm. And he's like, yeah, how much? 35 cents? He starts looking for the money. Meanwhile, with his actual hand, he's raising the window. The window closes on him. Ah! He screams out. Completely victimless crimes, right? That would typically leave the toll booth operator also in stitches. Good times. Priceless, inventive, super smart. Aside from all the things I love about my friend Brett, it's his qualities that he passed along to me that will live forever. They will live on in me and my two boys. They will live on in you and your sons and daughters. They will live on in his brothers and his sisters and in Aubrey. They are that part of Brett that will live on eternally. His unwavering and deep sense of justice, his deep commitment to his family and friends, his overwhelming love for the intricacies of nature, his love of music, and his utter silliness and desire to spread fun wherever he was. These are the ingredients of his eternal life. We had a few customs throughout our friendship. One was to kick the bull, to put an exclamation point on something, or to celebrate a particular victory. Today, I kick my bull in honor of my brother Brett. Yeah, I can still do it, Kim. Another custom we celebrated throughout our friendship, a part of our communal culture, was to toast the cigar. Meaning once you got to the end of your stogie, or to the knuckles, you had to take the floor and say something to commemorate the moment, and then flick the stogie into the night, producing a fountain of sparks. I can't smoke in this fine church, but if I could, I would offer this as my toast to Brett. Brett, you are Beauregard, the pillow fighter. You are mightiest of all the Joe Plums. You are Mudslide Slim, and you are the Blue Horizon. You are he who smokes upon old man Cumby's grave. You are the supreme toaster of stogies, the driver in the night, the one who brings vinyl to the fever, he who revels in the voluminous pot of La Teresita, the smoker of jays, the slayer of fools, the taker of tolls, the bringer of Boston, the ultimate friend of all ages, and you fought like a true champion until the end. You'll forever belong to all of us. We love you, Brett. Thank you.